Welcome to the closing episode of this season of the Finnish Education and Beyond podcast. We're here in Pori at SuomiAreena, the largest economic, social and political event of Finland. We'll interview different people from different backgrounds with different expertise from different areas that are important in the Finnish society today. Welcome and enjoy the show. Hello, Hanna.
Hello.
So nice to meet you. Can you tell us a little bit who you are and what you do?
Yes, of course. So my name is Hanna Lämsä. I'm the Executive Director of the Finnish Cultural and Academic Institutes, which is an umbrella organization for Finnish institutes that work abroad, 16 of them, and then also one in Espoo, in Hanasaari, the Swedish-Finnish Culture Center. So that's my job.
Okay, today's topic was Bara bada bastu, den finlandssvenska kulturen som Finlands superkraft. Can you summarize a little bit? What did you talk about today?
The Finnish-Swedish culture in Finland and this phenomenon that KAI, which is a humor band based on this Eastern Nordic area in Finland, that actually succeeded in Melodifestivalen, which is a Swedish program, and then went to the Eurovision Song Contest at the representative of Sweden. So this is actually it was kind of interesting topic to discuss. Why did it happen actually, and how do we see the Swedish-speaking culture in Finland? Do we actually know it enough? Does it have enough prestige? And then also this question that how the Swedish actually knew that this is something that would interest in the world at the moment.
Yeah, so people really talk about it as a phenomenon, and that this Swedish Finnish culture really has blossomed now, that we have this cultural treasure that no one really has taken advantage of, and no one really knows much about it. But I guess you have known about the potential of the Swedish Finnish culture in Finland. And can you take us back a little bit to your background in this organization and what you have been doing and what you now can say has been, let's say, the result of some things happening in Finland that no one really has paid attention to, and that now finally, thanks to Melodifestivalen and the European Song Contest, has made Finland really be world famous also with the Swedish-speaking culture?
Okay, well, I will start with what I actually do, so what the institutes do. So the Finnish institutes are kind of responsible for the internationalization of Finnish artists and researchers, Finnish arts and culture. And actually they see in their work every day that Finnish art and culture is people are interested in it. And it's something to do with also maybe the country image of Finland that has changed during the past years. I was talking about the effect of Sanna Marin, what it had, also the NATO application process. So this is their job. And then what happens with KAI is also that the fact that in Finland we have a strong Swedish-speaking culture, that was also kind of like known and to be seen. And but that's also something that we actually, well, for us it's normal. We have Tove Jansson, we have Sibelius, so they are Swedish-speaking, but we feel that it's our common heritage and common culture. But maybe from the outside, they don't actually realize that we have so strong multilingual culture in Finland. So this is something maybe that now came to forefront because of KAI. And of course, there's in background a lot of work that has been done with the Finnish-Swedish relationship in many areas. For example, Hanasaari has been doing a lot, and also there's an institute in Stockholm, Finnish Institute. So of course this is like a basis of this, but now it's like in kind of from different perspective it came to really to the forefront. And this is also gives to, it also serves the fact that Finnish culture is actually multicultural and multilingual. So I think this is a very good point, that we have also other minority cultures and we kind of cherish them, and now we can also everybody can be proud of that. So that's the thing.
Fantastic. And how do you see Finland and Sweden should take advantage of this moment when it's really a global phenomenon. We have more awareness about what's happening between the Finnish and Swedish cultures and the Swedish speaking culture in Finland. How should Finland take advantage of this, and how can this help the collaboration even further between Finland and Sweden?
Good point. Maybe I would also add that what this is, what effects has for this of this has been in Sweden as well for the Finnish-speaking minority there. So also now it's kind of they can be proud that they have Finnish roots. So this is also something, and I pointed in the discussion that it works both ways. So actually now you get more. Maybe the Finnish-speaking people have been very in low socioeconomic classes, and they have been struggling because they have been like immigrants to Sweden. But now it's kind of there's a new proudness, a new like I'm part of this. There's this kind of phenomena that comes up in a new perspective, and I think this is very good. So we kind of get out of our stereotypes, and we see the multicultural and multilingual culture as a richness, and this is I think this is the most important message we have to send to the world. That this is a richness, diversity is something that we need to build on our democracies and our world, and this is not something. It's something that we really need to cherish and not to kind of vanish and not to diminish.
Yeah, fantastic. And any final words of encouragement to both Finnish people in Sweden and people who feel that they're in a minority here in Finland, speaking only Swedish? Like, what can we do to also have better integration between both Finnish people in Sweden and Swedish-speaking people in Finland? What would be your final message of encouragement to think about now?
We just need to have more spaces for open dialogue. That's something that we have to also fund. They have to have the fund organizations that do this kind of work. The open spaces, offer dialogue, kind of get us possibilities to have a glimpse of another culture and to get to know it, and then start from that. So this we have to do.
Okay, Hanna, thank you so much. I look forward to following you more closer in the continuation, and look forward to maybe meeting again and have a follow-up.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Elisa, thanks for coming to the podcast. So nice to meet you. Can you tell us a little bit who you are and what you were talking about today?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Elisa Vepsäläinen. I am CEO of Silkkitie. We are an international recruitment company owned by Attendo Finland, and we are recruiting mostly healthcare personnel to Finland. Today we were discussing what it means to Finland if the kind of like the labor shortage, or what would happen if Finland wouldn't receive international workforce from the different perspective. There was a person from game industry. I was presenting the social and healthcare.
Yes, and you said something very interesting about the fact that there's a lot of young students who invest a lot of money and efforts and years and time to come to Finland, and other countries as well, but in this case to Finland, to get an education, and then in the end they might not get integrated and they might not get an employment, so it's a huge waste for everyone.
I've been thinking about this point a lot, because I think in Finland there is like something wrong with the integration system, because I don't think we kind of like acknowledge the people's previous background enough. You know what I mean? Yes. So sometimes it feels like everyone has to start from the empty space when they arrive to Finland, and I think there is something wrong. So if I don't know, I don't have any really good solution, but what I would maybe do is somehow integrate Finnish companies, the employers, better to this system. Somehow help Finnish students studying here in Finland to get contacts with companies before they graduate. Do something early enough that they have enough contacts, they have enough experience before they graduate.
Also, those who come for employment, who already have a job, might miss this integration process because there's no, let's say, ecosystem for the language learning and the integration part, because they are supposed to already be ready for work, and then they miss this social aspect completely. And what were the things that you highlighted and talked about today on that issue, and how do you see that?
I think the basic integration model in Finland has worked so that you come to Finland, you are first unemployed for certain time, and during this period of unemployment, you go to this integration training, kotokoulutus, and during this time you learn basic Finnish and then you start searching for a job. And this is only one way of coming to Finland. And I think it's quite old-fashioned to think that this would be the mainstream way. There are people coming straight to work, there are people coming to study, and I think the public system should be more flexible when it comes to that. Of course, they should offer integration training for those people as well who come here for work, right? They should also support this. And other way around, they should support with employment opportunities the international students. So it should be more tailored and individually tailored. One way cannot fit for every single person who come from such a different perspectives.
Exactly, and that is also the main, I think, piece in the success story of Finnish education when it comes to basic education.
Exactly.
But we don't really have that applied for adults. What kind of education are you already providing? You mentioned something about language learning, that there's a process from 6 to 9 months. What are the fundamental pieces that you would see necessary for the education, things that you're doing and things that you think that we need to focus on regarding the education part?
Well, our process is a bit different because people who come through us, they study 6 to 9 months before they come to Finland. So, and we really, really emphasize that you have to study and you have to really put all the effort to learning Finnish because the nurses who come through us, they start to work 2 weeks after they arrive to Finland, and they really need to know the basic Finnish. So for us, it's really crucial. But I think in the social and healthcare field, it's super important that they have some kind of pathway that they also continue the studies in Finland, because then it doesn't make sense that educated people with the really good work experience come here and don't get their diplomas recognized in Finland. So this is important. There's actually a lot of things, but I think it more relates to the registered nurses. They have a lot of, it's actually quite challenging to get your diploma registered here in Finland. And for example, it costs 2,000 euros, and in Sweden it's free. So Finland has actually made it quite difficult in many ways to get your diploma. So there's a lot of things that could be done more flexibly when it comes to diploma recognition. So.
Okay, thank you, Elisa, so much, and I hope to follow you and connect with you later. Yeah, it's cold. It's a Finnish summer, not really the best summer day today, but let's hope it gets warmer tomorrow.
Nice talking to you. Thanks.
KooPee, welcome to the podcast. It was excellent to see you today and speak about a very interesting topic. But before we go into the topic, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Well, I'm KooPee Hiltunen. I'm the director of the Finnish Games Industry organization, or the hub of the Finnish Games Industry, Neogames. We do a lot of things, starting from the policy making and discussing with the politicians and doing trade missions, doing studies about the Finnish games industry, dealing with the educational institutes and so on and so on. So it's quite wide variety of things we do.
And today's topic was a little bit about how to hire international talent and how to integrate them properly in the industries. And you mentioned something about the gaming industry already being so international and English being already like an established working language. But if you could highlight a few of the points that you were making today in the panel and summarize a little bit what the panel conversation was about.
Game industry in Finland is definitely international, since around a little bit more than third of our employees are non-Finns. So they have been employed by the Finnish game companies. And basically, one of the obstacles for the growth has for years been the lack of specialists. So if you think about game industry, for instance, it's a global industry, and we are all, despite if we are in USA or if we are in Finland or if we are in Japan, we are basically competing to the same talent pool. And if we want to maintain our cutting edge in the games industry, so to speak, we need to have the best talent abroad to come to Finland and work with our companies, but not only to work with our companies, but also educate Finnish game developers about those things they are specialized in. If you think about the games industry, the competition is not getting any easier than it is now. It is getting more fierce.
And what are the highlights from the gaming industry in Finland that has worked very well and will continue to work well? And what are the things that actually need policy changes for the Finnish gaming companies to continue growing and becoming really global players?
Well, there is a lot of things, but I think that one of the things we have been discussing lately is that we need more startups for the Finnish games industry. So we have some very prominent companies starting from Rovio and Supercell and Remedy and so on and so on. But for the future, we need more startups. We need more ambitious startups doing ambitious things. We need younger people to join the industry also, because it might sound controversial, but most of the successful Finnish game entrepreneurs, they are in their 50s at the moment. And we need more young people also to join the industry. And I don't care if they come from Finland or if they come from abroad. We just need them in order to keep the Finnish game industry ecosystem sustainable in the long run.
Yeah, I saw this documentary on the Yle. Yes, about the, let's say, birth of the Finnish gaming industry. It was really fantastic. And you saw these really enthusiastic gamers from then, who I then think are those leaders today that still have this strong ambition to create. But what are the incentives for the younger generation that are missing for them to become creators and not only consumers?
I think that in general we need to little bit find new direction in a way that we have always been a very mobile-oriented country. And if we think about what the situation is today, mobile is even more competitive than some other platforms. So it is very hard for startups to grow in the mobile space. So we need to look at the kind of new venues for the growth. We have to take a look at the new platforms. If we go to the new mobile, we need to have some new fresh ideas also for the business side of the industry. We need to think things a little bit differently, and that's where we need innovation. We need innovation to kind of break away from the traditional Finnish games industry style of doing things. It is still functional for some big companies, but it won't be functional for startups because the environment has changed.
And what are the things that we should change as a society, or policymakers should change to create a better environment for this innovation around startups in the gaming industry?
I think that we should admit that, as the Finnish rock band said, kaikki viisaus ei asu meissä. We don't have all the wisdom. We need to have wisdom also from outside Finland. New ideas, fresh innovations, fresh connections, fresh cultural point of view, this kind of stuff, because we have to kind of instill to the games industry all the time. We have to instill new things and new ideas and new people in order to keep ourselves fresh and going and ambitious of what we do. And I don't know if you saw the interview from Ilkka Paananen, and he said we have to take more risks. We have to be more ambitious. We have to take more risks. That's what we have to do, and for that we need young people.
And does it also mean to attract the best talent from the world, from everywhere? Yeah. And are we good at that, or do we need to improve also there?
We need to improve. So game industry is a field of constant improvement. If you are just satisfied to yourself, it's not going to last very long, because the story is that it's one of the most competed industries in the world, and in order to basically stay in your place, you have to run pretty fast.
What would be your final words of encouragement to young gamers who have still not really grown up to start thinking about what to do with their lives, and their parents who also need to be encouraging somehow or facilitating their future growth?
So game industry is moving on. Game industry is constantly changing. Try how far you can go. And for instance, if you think about the technology we have at the moment, start with the Roblox, start with the user-generated content, and take a look if it's something for you. There you can go further and further and further on the way to the realms of the games industry.
Thank you very much, KooPee.
Thank you.
Ville, welcome to the podcast. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what do you do?
Ville Voipio, and I am the chair of the board of Technology Industries of Finland. Technology Industries of Finland is an industry lobby, and our member companies represent about half of Finnish exports and about 2/3 of Finnish RDI research and development. But as to me personally, how I describe myself, I'm a lobbyist, and I am a lobbyist for the planet, a lobbyist for the Finnish society.
What the international recruitment panel was about, and what your main points was there?
Oh yes, international recruitment is important because, as we all know, the birth rates have plummeted, and we are really sorely needing a lot of new workforce, very educated people, but also labor with lower education in certain fields. My point there, as a technology industry point of view, is that we need to have a lot of educated people with higher education, and there are different routes of getting these people. One of them is, of course, educating our own people, but as we know that the number of Finns is rather limited, then we need to recruit people internationally to different levels of our education system, and of course to have people who already have the education come and work in Finland. And of course we need to make this society such that this is a great place to work. Also for those who are not born Finns, they have to feel welcome. If you want to work, if you want to build this society, then you're welcome.
Yes, and in the panel it was discussed about the issues outside of work that many might not take into account. Let's say we have an integration program for those who come without an employment, but when you come, you're highly educated and you get right into an employment, but you don't have the language, the local language, and you don't have the social environment. We kind of miss something, and we might not take all these aspects into account.
Work is only one part of life, right? So if you want to settle in this society, you have to integrate into the society, and language is one part of that integration process. Work life, especially, for example, in technology industry, in high-tech industries, it's rather easy to integrate without knowing a word of Finnish, because most people speak English, and there are a lot of English-speaking people in the communities. But the problem, of course, is that then you are integrated into that workplace, but you're not integrated into society. Your family is not integrated into the society. And this is something I don't feel Finland has been very successful at integrating people.
And what are the elements that maybe have hindered this integration, and what are the things that we can do now to improve this?
This is an interesting question. One of them is language, and the funny thing, we know from international research that Nordic countries have not been very great at integrating people, and it might have something to do that we know English, so you can actually make do. You can manage in the Finnish society without speaking Finnish or Swedish official languages. But still it makes the integration more difficult. But language is only one part of it, and of course we should be, at all levels, we should be very welcoming. We have been an integrated society, a society with people who have quite similar backgrounds, people who look similar, and that has been a strength, but still that has made us sort of maybe a bit too tightly integrated among ourselves, which means that getting from outside to our society may not be the easiest task you have.
And what would be, let's say, your words of encouragement to those internationals who are curious about Finland but might have some tips that you have seen maybe work?
Well, I think one of the things is that understand the Finnish culture. You know how you recognize an extrovert Finn? You recognize an extrovert Finn by seeing that he's looking at your shoes instead of his own shoes, right? So, of course, that's a stereotype. But if people are quiet, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't like you, right? I would like to say that this society is quite welcoming, but getting in is a bit difficult, and it requires some courage to go. Regarding the language, it's an interesting story. I think it's a national story we have, that we have the most difficult language in the world. Funny that there are a lot of different nations who have exactly the same story. I don't think any languages are more difficult than other languages. It might be different from the Indo-European languages, but it's still something that people can learn. I know a lot of foreigners who have learned Finnish, but I have to admit that it requires a bit of persistence, because we Finns have the habit of switching to English when someone talks broken Finnish, and I think we are not really doing that well. People tend to have hobbies, different hobbies, whatever it is, just go into different hobby groups, because there you meet actually people you don't meet at work. And whatever it is, sports, music, it's very common to have people who don't speak Finnish in those groups. So it's quite okay to go there without understanding Finnish. And that's also one way of learning. Well, I mean, if you're doing something like martial arts, you will learn 1, 2, 3 quite quick in Finnish.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Thank you very much, Ville. Great to meet you.
Thank you, and I would still love to welcome everyone here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Harri, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. All good here.
So you were speaking yesterday. Can you summarize the topic that you were speaking about and then give me some updates?
Yeah, yesterday it was a Finnish Entrepreneurs Association Day in the stage outside, in fact, outside this building. But our topic was the future skills in the age of AI. What is needed in primary education, what is needed in, let's say, K through 12, and finally, what's the work life looking like. And in short, of course, everybody knows that it's not the AI that are taking your job, it's the people who are using AI to be more productive. Basically, we focus pretty much on K through 12, which is a challenging because, of course, you need to learn to read, need to learn math, need to basically treat a critical thinking, and all that stuff. But at the same time, we are in the middle of the media environment where there are more fake misinformation, propaganda than ever. Creating fake is easier than ever. And that requires new type of reading skills. So being in teacher in elementary school is more difficult than ever because of all this extra information. That doesn't take away the basic need to learn to read, write, and do maths. But in the future, what comes to big things is that what are the skills that machines are doing in few years? How we predict that, and in fact how we turn that to strength, not a fear. And that is the big question. We didn't have exact answer. That's why we are doing business around that. So when you ask that what we are doing right now, we are still pretty much on making predictions, what skills are needed, where, who should get educated, help education providers to do better curriculums, better courses, and in that way help companies and nations to grow.
Since the AI hype started becoming more public about a couple of years ago until today, when it's really like integrated everywhere, or everyone thinks it should be integrated everywhere, well, what are the fundamental skills we need to focus on? Have they changed anything in the last few years?
I would say that 2 years are too short time to change the evolution. So nothing in that scale has changed. But there are recent studies which shows that if you only trust AI apps, you only use apps, no critical thinking, you don't add anything on your own, you become more passive, and you can even observe that from brain signals. And that's really something that everybody should pay attention. So it's not only that you download the apps and start to rely on apps on everything, even though you are faster and do cool LinkedIn posts without any effort, that makes your brain passive. And that's maybe something that everyone should recognize and do acts on that. So use technology, but use your brains is basically the best advice.
And when it comes to application, what are the recommendations of now what should people pay attention to when it comes to AI on an application level? If you know that, okay, I am really critical about things, maybe skeptical even about things, but maybe I should go deep and learn about something like on an application level. What are some recommendations you could give?
I would say first recommendation is make sure your privacy. So privacy is maybe the only thing you should be concerned. And there are, of course, several approaches. You can be neglecting most of the apps because you don't know about the security, or then you just play with everything and there is no real digital you. There are just different profiles and you don't even yourself care because nobody knows which information about you is true and what is not. But privacy, be aware that privacy is the thing. Then if you are using apps for education as a teacher or as a parent, how reliable the information is there some scientific truth behind, or is it just like app that says whatever? Because that's the second biggest thing. When used in education, there should be some trust or evidence that they are teaching the right stuff or commonly accepted truth. Nobody, in fact, knows what is the truth eventually. But
What are you researching at the moment? Do you have any topic that you are researching as a very pioneering researcher yourself? What are you learning about right now?
right now we are like building this labor market foresight, technology foresight, all kind of predictive analytics about the text. Right now we are bringing the scale of economics in there. So how we connect everything we do into GDP or other economical, let's say, indicators that everybody follows. So it is important to know that we need maybe 100 professionals in Helsinki for something, but it's way more important to know what is the GDP effect when we get them, and in case we don't get them, what is the GDP loss.
Fantastic, Harri. So I will come back to you and get more in touch with whatever you're doing as soon as I can again. Thanks for today.
Thank you.
Henrik Wickström, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So a pleasure to have you here. And you talked about a very interesting topic regarding Swedish-Finnish culture, based on the phenomenon that is KAI and everything that is Swedish-Finnish culture and collaboration. Could you please just summarize a little bit what the panel was about and what your specific points were about today?
We discussed like overall the Finnish-Swedish culture and how like KAI became a phenomenon, what was like the behind this complete success that they made in Sweden and then also in Europe. And then of course situation like overall in the Finnish-Swedish culture was still like a minority and due to the KAI phenomenon like more also Finnish people in Finland became more familiar with our culture, and that's of course something really positive.
And you being a representative since many years for the Swedish People's Party, what are the things that you have been working for a long time that maybe finally have become public knowledge? That must have been like a relief for you also, and it might facilitate your work as a Swedish speaker also in Finland.
Well, that's a quite a tricky question because like for me at least as a politician, I don't want to like how would you say discuss that let's do this especially like in a Finnish way or something like especially in the Swedish way. I want that the life is like equal for the both language groups in Finland. But the most like important thing or how would you say achievement, so it's actually happening on the local level where you can where you like do the decisions regarding education. So all the decisions that are good like for the education in Swedish, those are like the best ones, because that's still how would you say the base when it comes to our like bilingual language we have.
Yes, and also about the language question, because many of you, like yourself, speak also perfect Finnish. So the two local languages are for many very important to be able to work, especially in the public life and especially representing the Swedish People's Party. But many Swedish speakers are in a minority. They don't really have access to a lot of services in Swedish here in Finland. And I haven't really realized that either, living here now for 14 years as a Swedish native, but also with a double citizenship, also speaking Finnish. So I never really saw it as a right for me to be able to work in Swedish. But then now when I see there's a lot of hype around the Swedish speaking culture, the Swedish-Finnish culture, I see that this is something very nice that we should store and have like cultivate. A subtopic was a little bit about the treasure that is the Swedish-Finnish culture. What can you say about that?
Well, I hope that this positivity like regarding the Swedish culture, that we will see that also like in the future. There is like more positivity now thanks to KAI, which is a good thing obviously, but it's important for us also to keep that going because normally when you see this phenomenon, so these are like things that are last like only for a few months, not like for a longer time than that. But I hope that now Finnish speakers, they are like open for the Swedish culture and they also understand why the Swedish culture and language is important for the country. But when it comes like like for the Swedish speakers, right? So there are differences like where you live in the country. If you live in the southern part or in the western part, then you're like more able to have service in Swedish. But still, though, for example, in Helsinki, it might be really difficult to have like a doctor appointment like in Swedish, which if it's your like mother language. So we have still some work to do, but all like positive, how would you say, publicity for the Swedish speaking things is a good thing for the Swedish speakers' rights in Finland.
And what do you see as the possibility now to collaborate more with Sweden as a country? The Finnish-Swedish collaboration, I think it's stronger than in many, many years, if not ever. What can you say about that? Like, what's the possibility now to work together, build on the strengths that we have in the different cultures?
The collaboration is really important. It started actually due to the insecure security situation in Europe. When we started the NATO negotiations, we have this Sanna Marin and carrier phenomenon in Sweden, and that in a way opened the eyes for the Swedish people in Sweden that, hey, Finland is a cool country. And so I believe that the collaboration and cooperation between our two countries, so there's a lot of possibilities. And especially now I would hope that we would see like more cooperation regarding economical affairs, because I believe that here in Finland we have a lot to learn about the Swedish how would you say, the environment for companies. They have like much better facilities for their startups to become like bigger companies. So we have much to learn from Sweden as well.
And what are the things that Finland really has but has not been able to market properly that maybe the Swedes can help with?
Well, also when you look at the culture field, so for example with Sky, I mean that's like a Finnish band, but they didn't participate in the UMK, which is like our Melody Festival, and they have to go to Sweden to win. And that's like maybe a sign that we're not that good at how would you say, see what's in our country the best things. So we need to have like a group of Swedish experts who like made this then to a phenomenon. So maybe that's the thing that we need to learn, especially from Sweden.
And what can Sweden learn from Finland?
Well, now I have to say like a lot of when it comes to the security policy. Maybe Swedes are really positive, and when you compare our two cultures, so we're as a country and people like more spot on. We speak quite direct, but that's not something you do in Sweden. And maybe in this quite insecure situation that we have in the world, so at some point it's like good to be quite correct and just say how you feel things, and that's maybe something that Swedes need to learn from us.
And finally, regarding the integration issue, so what are the key things that internationals should think about when they want to integrate in Finland, or regardless of what country you come from?
I hope that you feel that you can do it like in the both language, in Finnish and in Swedish. I hope, especially like for example in Espoo, so it would be really important that we could see an integration of like 10% of all the new people coming to Finland would be integrated in Swedish. That's like actually one of the head like goals also in the government program that we have at the moment, and for us as a party it's a really important thing. I hope that all people who arrive to Finland, they feel that this is actually a country with two national languages, and they feel that they can also be a part of this country also if they learn Swedish.
Fantastic. So finally, what's the best thing with SuomiAreena this year?
Maybe to meet people. The people, like, that's the thing here in SuomiAreena. You meet people from different companies, organizations, NGOs, so, and also other politicians. So it's like a grand summer meeting before the vacation time. So it's nice always to be here.
Thank you so much, Henrik. Thank you. Again, we've had a fantastic time here in Pori at SuomiAreena, meeting a lot of fantastic people, having very interesting conversations and learning a lot from different experts from different fields. We hope you enjoyed the show and the entire season, and we wish you a welcome back after the summer. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media in the meantime. Bye-bye.